You remember Rule 6 of Moneyball, don't buy strikers unless absolutely necessary? Well, Ollie Pearce got injured and I panicked. But don't judge me, because we've got 2 games left, win them both, and we're in the playoffs. Greetings, my excellent friends, and welcome back to episode 7 of the Director of Moneyball. I'm Kirk Sheridan, and I've got a new contract, 2 more years in charge of Worthing Football Club. The board are clearly happy with the job I'm doing, and the supporters are over the moon. They couldn't be happier with the club's vision for the future. That's because we have secured that top half spot that the supporters were looking for in our first ever season in the National League South. Now, I was given this new contract just a couple of days after this loss against Farnborough, but by that point, we were unbeaten in 6 matches. Draw, win, draw, win, draw, win, and we were sitting pretty in the playoff spots. Since then, it hasn't been quite such plain sailing. We have lost 3 out of the last 4 matches. The one win in this stretch was an absolutely dominant performance. At home against Concord, one of our remaining rivals for the final playoff spots, we were completely on top in terms of possession and XG. Always helps, obviously, when the opposition have a player sent off with half an hour to go. But then we went away to another playoff rival, Cheshunt, and it was a very even game that we ridiculously lost 2-0. 2 disallowed goals for new striker Michael Falevi. And I've got to be honest, the last match out against Braintree was really quite worrying. We were absolutely battered. They had 23 shots in this match and an XG, admittedly including a penalty, of 3.5. We were the home team. But the teams around us have been trying to throw it away just as much as we are, and we are still in 6th place. Hampton and Richmond and Dulwich Hamlet are just soaring away at the top. But there's 7 clubs in the hunt for these final 5 playoff places. So it's a good job we brought in some new faces to help us over the line. Transfer deadline day came and went on the 30th of March, and we managed to ship out 4 players. Bradley Webb, our 3rd choice left back, departed for the Met Police. Callum Keeley and Ibi Akanbi finally decided to sign for other teams, even though I've been trying to offer them out pretty much all season. And most excitingly of all, Dan Bowery, almost at the last second, decided, you know what, he was happy to move to Bromley. He was on £625 a week with us, and Bromley have picked him up on a non-contract with a £375 appearance fee. Great bit of business for them, and to be honest, a great bit of business for us. Because when Ollie Pearce got injured at the start of March, he was out for 2 weeks with strained ligaments, and he got injured pretty much on his return, and has been out until very, very recently. So I had no choice. I had to go out and buy a striker because I didn't have faith in Keeley or Akanbi to hold the line. So Michael Falevi, on paper, looks great. He's got potential to be a Vanarama national striker in future. He's got good teamwork, good work rate, his DNA's brilliant, and he likes big matches and is a consistent performer. He's also pacey. What more can you want from a striker in the National League South? Well, I'll tell you what you want. A decent average rating and some goals, that would be nice. He's got a 6.27 from 6 starts for us. Now, thankfully, I knew this was a panic signing, so I didn't go in for a long-term contract. We've only got him in until the end of the season. And he's going to have to do a lot of good work in the last 2 games to convince me to keep him on beyond that. Martel Taylor-Crossdale was then a non-contract backup signing. The best that we could get as we were in the process of also selling Keeley and Akanbi. So I'm hoping he'll be quite handy, yet to score in his 2 starts and 5 substitute appearances, but does already have a much better average rating than Falevi. But the final 2 players I have a lot of belief in, and I think they're going to be absolutely crucial in these final 2 games of the season. Thomas Hughes can play all across our front line. And look at these technical attributes. For this level, this is tasty. Very much knocking on the door of the club DNA. Lots of 9s for teamwork, work rate, pace, and a couple of 8s for stamina and strength. But he's a good passer, good vision, and determined. And of course, as with the Moneyball rules, he's got plenty of room to improve. He's 22 years old. We've got him signed on to the end of next season. And if this guy fulfills his potential, he could be an absolute star for us. And Ali Whittingham is another. As I've been going through and looking at which players I want to sign on for new contracts for next season, there are a couple of consistent performers this year who just don't look like they've got the ability to actually step up to the next level, particularly in that defensive midfield spot that forms the solid core of pretty much our entire tactic. So Alfie Whittingham, I was able to take advantage of him running down his contract at Hampton and Richmond, who I would like to point out are in first place in the league, and he had started 20 games for them, but I was able to convince him to join the Mackerel Men on the South Coast. He started 3 matches so far for us, averaged a 7, and as you can see, determination, teamwork, work rate, pace, stamina, strength, passing a little bit short, but this guy is going to be a phenomenal, I'm sure, consistent, solid presence and do the kind of legwork that's going to allow the rest of the team to play brilliantly around him. And I would very much like those new players to turn it on against Taunton today. We haven't been on the best run of form. We are shaking and wobbling at the worst possible time. But Taunton are rock bottom and already relegated. We could not possibly ask for a better match to allow us to secure the 3 points that will put us in control of our own destiny on the final day of the season. I know these boys can do it. Let's go see them make it happen. So Taunton are lining up with an incredibly defensive formation here. We are going to need to break them down if we're going to get those 3 points that we need. Hughes is starting in that attacking midfield spot. For Levy ahead of him. Racine and Dinzay in central defence there. So our 2 team leaders. And we absolutely need them to stay secure. We've been leaking far too many goals over the last few matches, as you will have seen. I think it's 7 goals we've conceded in the last 4 matches, which has led to, unfortunately, those poor results. Winning 1 of those. Oh, what's Hines doing here? For Levy! Oh, my word! Oh, my word. I would have been expecting Maidlin to start. I was confused there that he was not on that right flank, putting the cross in. And it should be Pearce rather than Falevi. But the 2 new players combine. And we are 1 up after less than 10 minutes. I said before the match, Falevi's going to have to do something special to convince me to keep him on for next season. Well, I'll tell you what, a hat-trick in this game might just about do it. And he's got plenty of time to put the other 2 in the back of the net. We're knocking the ball around nicely here, but McLeod plays it all the way back to Mail. We're building up slowly from the back, taking our time, nice and cautious. Dinzay lumps it all the way up, though, and the ball breaks. Oh, Whittingham there, our other new player, is holding onto the ball very nicely in central midfield. And the ball is flicked over. Falevi's in again. And he scores again. Goodness gracious me. But it won't stand. Oh, it's ruled out. That's so frustrating. He's offside. Well, 10 minutes in, have to be honest, we're looking really, really dangerous. But Taunton, although they are bottom of the league, I wasn't expecting them to be quite this poor. Miles Meekums is in and blazes right over the top. So Taunton have been in slightly better form than us over the last 5 matches. I took a look before coming in and I was expecting them to put up more of a fight, I have to be honest. But we've got an XG of 1.4 and we're not even at half-time yet. If we don't come away with 3 points from this match, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed. And that could have been disastrous. Smith looks like he's carrying an injury there. Otherwise, I would have expected him to actually put that in the back of the net. But we did get a block in. Our defender managed to flick the ball up into the air. Caught by Mail. We're now on the attack at the end of the first half. Simpson plays it back to Racine. He takes the ball forward towards the box. The ball comes to Hughes. It's with Whittingham again. McLeod plays it out to Hines, who's now picked up a booking. He's going to have to be careful. Hines is through again to Miles Meekums this time, and it's 2. Surely that one's not going to be ruled out. That was a beautiful piece of play with Hines running behind the defence. Perfectly timed run. And Miles Meekums cutting inside from the left wing. Blindside of the defender. No chance for the goalkeeper. Very tasty, very easy finish. Oh, fantastic. Right. This is quite exciting, isn't it? As things stand, we're moving up to 5th place. Chesson are dropping points. They are getting beaten at home by Bath. St Albans have had a man sent off and are drawing 0-0 at Dartford. Concord are drawing against top team Hampton and Richmond. And if things stay as they are, Havant and Waterlooville wouldn't even be able to catch us. Well, this is looking absolutely great. This has been a phenomenal performance, exactly what I was hoping to see from the team after that poor run that we have been on. We have a free kick from miles out. Hughes flies one in, and it's out for a goal kick. Quite ambitious to take a shot from that distance. Now, Allardyce comes on for Racine, and Talent Ayite is now on for McLeod as well, and Phillips has come on for White. We've got a corner. Simpson to Allardyce at the back post. The substitute scores a header from a corner. 3-0. This is going to put us into brilliant mood for the final day of the season. What a dominant victory this is turning out to be. Ben, I'm just in awe of everything you've been able to accomplish at the team this year. Given the position that we were in when you joined us, Ben Watson, you deserve to be, just for getting us into the playoffs, you will be, in my mind, in my eyes, a club legend forever. And there we have it. Confirmation of a 3-0 victory in a game that we absolutely dominated. Falevi scored, Miles Meekham scored, substitute Allardyce scored, and Hines, not playing in defensive midfield for once, was man of the match with 2 assists. Hampton and Richmond did beat Concord. Cheshunt did lose to Bath. And St Albans failed to beat Dartford. So we are in 5th place. 1 point in our final match will be enough to see us land in those playoffs. And to be honest, given our goal difference is 13 better than Concord, we can probably lose and still end up in the playoffs. But I don't want that, obviously. I want to go into those playoffs on form. Or do I? Because if we do go up this year, it's going to be a tough ask to stay up in the National League, I think. But whatever happens next season, I've made one very important decision. Ollie Pearce, much maligned star striker, who I've been hypercritical of all season, as you well know. 38 starts, 33 goals. I'm concerned about the number of games in which he scores those goals, of course. I've actually signed him up for another 2 years. Now, before you cry hypocrite at me, there is logic behind this decision, and it is all Moneyball logic. I need to maximise the value of the players that I have in my team, obviously. I need to be looking to develop and build players to sell on for a profit at a later date. Now, Ollie Pearce is performing well and scoring goals, and I have no doubt is putting himself in the shop window. If I just let him run down his contract and move on at the end of the season to a club of his choice, we're not going to get any money from it. Now, he's valued between £1,500 and £12,000. And he's on the books for the next 2 years, so any club that wants to come in for him is going to have to pay me for him. And to be honest, the best thing about all of this is he's actually taken a pay cut. He was our highest paid player at £700 a week. He's now accepted £525. It feels like a win-win. Not only have we got a decent enough striker on the books for another 2 years, who we can sell for money in that time, but we've also got a bit more money to spend on development players as well. And those development players are now starting to roll in. We have had our first youth intake, and there are some standout prospects in the mix. Yaroslav Novak might have problems with injuries and needs to add consistency to his game, but he could improve a lot. Gregor Bieber, already naturally fit, committed player who gives his all to the cause, 4.5-star potential. And Pedro Silva, 16-year-old striker with natural flair and fitness and finishing and technique in abundance, also 4.5-star potential. So these are the players I'm going to be banking the future of this football club on. Rule number 1. Develop youth ahead of transfers. So look for these players to be coming into the team. If not next season, then probably the one after. Now, I know we're only semi-professional and there are some professional teams in this division, but whoa, we are a long way from having the best staff in the division. So that's something I really want to push more. To develop those players effectively, we need great coaches. We obviously need phenomenal scouts. So expect a bit of a focus on staff recruitment over the summer months. Judgment Day approaches. The board are expecting a draw, but believe a chance exists of us sneaking a win. Same for the supporters, but both hope that we can qualify for the playoffs with a result. Jack Maidlin passes his fitness test, so hopefully he will be back in the starting lineup. Ollie Pearce, still a long way short of fitness, might be on the bench. Hemel Hempstead unbeaten in their last 5 matches, though. A point will definitely do it. But if we can get that win, it could put us into a really good motivational space for the playoffs. So this is it. Final day of the season. Home match against Hemel Hempstead at Woodside Road. For Levy and Phillips in those attacking spots. Dinzay and Allardyce at the back in central defence. Lining up against us with a 4-2-3-1 as well are the Hemel Hempstead team. We have every chance of ending the season on a spectacular high. This is very, very typical non-league back and forth of just lumping the ball aimlessly. As I was watching in real life, I would be asking someone to actually keep the ball on the deck. And we look absolutely incapable of doing so. But I can't knock it. Ben, whatever tactics he's played, it's absolutely worked. Remember, at one point this season, we were down to 15th. I was on the verge of losing my job. And the decision to part ways with Dave Hedges and bring in Ben Watson as our assistant manager has made an entire season's worth of difference. McLeod, as the defensive midfielder, is running into a fantastic position on the right wing. And, oh, very, very close there. McLeod on the ball once again. Maidlin looks like he might slow the pace down. He's running with the ball a little bit. Running and passing to Simpson, who flies down the left wing, acting like a wing-back rather than a full-back. Perhaps that is how Watson's asking him to play today. Levy gets on the end of it, but can't quite direct the shot, or the header, I should say, on target. So we've been very much on top in terms of possession so far this match. Not many shots, though. Hemel Hempstead obviously a significantly better team than Taunton were in the previous game. Maidlin picks up the ball basically by our corner flag and hits it to Mail, who absolutely thunders a ball upfield. That is a spectacular clearance from Phillips. Hughes is in, and he manages to pop it past the Hemel Hempstead goalkeeper. We are looking exceptionally good for the playoffs now. A thunderous lump from Mail there, and Phillips just waited a beautiful ball to Hughes. I thought he might actually cut it back to Falevi, but no, he was incredibly selfish, took it on himself. And to be honest, the Hemel Hempstead goalkeeper is going to feel bad about that. Should never have conceded that goal at his near post. And Phillips is in once again. Is he going to play Falevi in this time? Looks like the opportunity has actually passed. But, oh, header from Lewis White racing into the box there. Unfortunately, flies past the goal, comes to nothing. But we're on top in possession. We've had more shots. We are looking very, very good once again. Having said that, dangerous looking free kick for Hemel Hempstead right on the stroke of half time. This will probably be the last kick of the match. And my word. Oh, just over the bar. Well, as things stand, we'd finish on 76 points, which I'd say for a first season in the National League South ever is a pretty good return. 55 minutes in, Hemel Hempstead thumped the ball upfield, but it comes to Simpson, who charges forward yet again. And that was, well, I think he spotted the goalkeeper off his line and attempted to lob him. Not his forte, I'm afraid, Simpson. But Allardyce there manages to clear the ball out. Lewis White gets back on it, comes back to Allardyce once again. We don't need to push for another goal here. I'd love it, obviously. The more goals we can score, the more our morale, I'm sure, will improve ahead of what is now looking to be a certain playoff match. We are getting forward and creating a lot of chances, but we're also giving the ball away a lot. Maybe that's something I could be asking Ben to work on over the summer, is just maintaining possession a little bit more. Although, you know, we were struggling with that. Oh no, Greenridge is through, and Hemel Hempstead have scored with what I think is probably their first shot on target. That, again, basically came from us lumping the ball upfield, losing it needlessly. Their one and only shot on target, but we are still looking good for the playoffs as things stand. Again, that point is all we need, but I would really like us to pick up the victory. Right, Dinzé has plenty of time to build from the back, but lumps it forward. Falevi's not getting anything in this game at all. The ball does not seem to be breaking for him in the slightest. Sheriff takes the ball and loses it again. They're going to come straight back at us. Hemel Hempstead attacking down the right wing. And Greenridge is through once again. And that's so disappointing. That is so disappointing. I know that these tactics have been working for Ben this season, but oh gosh, it's so disappointing to see when you just keep hoofing the ball up the field and it keeps coming back. Falevi is not the kind of player who's going to hold the ball up, as we have just seen, and the ball comes straight back, and there is no way that Hemel Hempstead should be ahead in this match. I guess this isn't a bad thing though. This is dampening my expectations. I was starting to get probably overexcited about how we might perform in the playoffs. So getting promoted this year would almost certainly be too soon for us. We don't have the strength in the squad to actually stay up in the National League next year. I think another season consolidating at this level, bringing in some really high caliber National League South players who can develop more in future. Oh, but having said that, oh, what was that? Have you ever seen that before? Falevi took the shot, it bounced off the post and just trickled over the goal line. Oh, I was speechless. Falevi, not surprisingly, is looking very depressed there at the top, but Pearce has come on for him. We've got 5 minutes left, and it doesn't look like we're going to get back in this game. No, that is it. We lose our final match of the season, but it doesn't matter. We have made it to the playoffs. We've achieved our objective for the year. The board are going to be happy. I've already got that 2-year contract in the bag, and we will be playing St Albans in the playoff, a team we have already beaten this season when they were top of the league. I would say the chances are slim, but anything is possible. I didn't think we'd even make it into the playoffs earlier in the season, so join me again very soon to see what happens in those playoffs. And if it's a short one, we'll obviously have a look back on this incredibly rollercoaster first season in charge of Worthing and judge how we think we've performed as the director of football. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. If you have, please drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on to find out the second the next part drops. And as always, in the meantime, please be excellent to each other. I'm Kirk Sheridan. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.